and the other thing is you take a look at, like, you're talking about the confidence, you know, to go out and like teach and stuff. And honestly, I mean, you take a look at some college music grads and they really suck as players.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
And so not that that's across the board. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
But just like the degree doesn't make
I knew it. I was looking at that. And I was like, isn't this supposed to be read at the very beginning of the show? But I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything.
I got one job. Supposed to record on the camera.
It's all good.
Fail every time.
Awesome.
We have experience. It's happened before.
Sorry, bro.
So we have experience.
Hey everyone, so this is what Jamin looks like. For those of you who've been listening,
We
got about 14 seconds left on the podcast.
Totally.
We got about 14
that's all
seconds
the
to go.
time we have. Good to see you. You look great.
I was wondering, you reach over to the camera, you like press a button, like, oh, I guess this story was too boring. We're done.
I was like, this sucks.
This is over.
Stop. Cut.
It's just started.
Let's try this again. Can you fake another business, like a gas station, or maybe you own a Nordstrom's?
Nordstrom's? Where did you get Nordstrom's from?
Something a little bit more, you know, something with more oomph. Sorry, guys. I failed one more time at pressing record. This will be just a teaser video.
Preview. A sub view, not a preview.
Oh, the ladies out there.
Since we have a little break here, if you guys don't mind, I have some questions for you guys.
Real quick, before you give a question,
we don't care about your questions.
I just have one more though that I really want to ask.
Yeah.
What gave you the confidence to go into it, knowing the fact that I mean, it's a super competitive market. I mean, there's a million piano playing websites out there.
Yeah.
So what made you think like I was gonna start it and get over hundreds of students?
I still don't have that, honestly. I mean, I don't.
Right, but I mean, you have enough to where you have like 30 testimonials.
You're talking about the confidence. I think as a business person, most entrepreneurs have like that. I don't know.
So you just went into it saying like, oh, like I really want to do this and I'm just gonna do it. Period. Like that kind of attitude?
No, I'm gonna try it and maybe fail miserably.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that's one of the.
I missed where you were saying most business people, entrepreneurs do what, and then I missed that. You guys went back and forth, and I kind
of get the sense that most entrepreneurs have this sense of like possible imminent doom.
Yeah,
like, this thing might fall apart today.
Right here.
This might be the day
every time.
This might be the day I jump off the bridge.
I mean,
so I don't know that.
I think that's part of the like adrenaline rush, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
Like you get that rush of like, okay, here we go, just sign a lease, or we just bought the domain, or I just invested $10,000 into this equipment, or I bought this carpet cleaning van. Well, hopefully I can learn how to clean vans or carpets.
This popcorn machine.
Yeah, no, you're gonna find.
People love popcorn, I hope. But I think that's part of the rush. For me, it is at least. Like I love the
risk.
The risk is part of like the
possible reward,
the excitement of it. I think. And as an instructor, I was never like I'm confident in what I do, but at the same time, always like I feel like you have confidence. Like, okay, I can do this, but you're always like trying to get better. That's if you think you're like I'm awesome. That's it. I think you're at a bad place in my opinion.
Damn,
as a bit. You're at a bad place either as a business owner or entrepreneur or anything. If you think you know everything and you got it, it's okay to be confident, but it's also always okay to be like, there's something more out there, striving for better, smarter. Like even working out or whatever it is. There's always a new level that you could reach.
Right.
If you're never chasing that level, you lose the motivation. I have arrived.
Yeah, I think that's a sign that you're probably insulated and not like involved in whatever your field is. If you don't have that sense of like, there's a million people behind me who aren't as good as me, and there's 3 million people who are better than me out in front of me. I think that's one of the things that makes a good teacher is just like, I'm just out there trying to inspire curiosity. Like I don't have as much to give you as far as information as much as I do just here's my passion for what we're doing. Let's run harder down this path together. So I think that's
all right. Your question.
Yeah, sir. I'm excited for your questions now.
Yeah,
we've never had a guest that asks good questions.
Ask
me anything.
Everyone's like usually like it's a whole hour with you guys.
And it like flies by like this, and they're like, it's over.
I've gotten so many emails from people in Kansas who are like, when you get there, you have to ask these questions on my behalf.
So awesome, this guy. That's awesome. I love
Lay
it.
it on us, Kansas. Ambassador de la Kansas.
For those of you that don't know, our biggest listening audience is in Kansas. Second biggest. Sorry, Sacramento's the first.
The people in Kansas who are MMA fans. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Dang, this guy's
all 5 of them.
Avid Frendz listener over here.
Absolutely. So, first of all, on your first episode, you bleeped something, and you haven't bleeped a single thing since. And wait,
I love it.
And I heard one of you, I don't remember who it was, one of you said a-hole, like the word, and that was not bleeped. So that I'm
thank you. So
I'm thinking, what in the world was said?
Okay,
that
I will
got
tell
bleeped,
you. I will tell you what got
a-hole
bleeped.
did not get bleeped.
First of all, let's give the story. Okay, so Josh was on our it was our second podcast. Josh came on our podcast, and we were talking about how good Josh's beard looked. And I was like, he must shave or something. And then I was like,
oh wait, never mind. If this is going where I think it is,
no.
That was appropriate.
No,
I don't want to know.
No, trust me.
Just say a-hole right now.
No. It's something. Hey, it's something that I honestly didn't think should be bleeped because everybody started coming up to me and at this point I realized we should bleep more things because at that point I realized how many people actually listen to our podcast.
We should bleep our whole podcast.
No.
Maybe the people will listen to it.
No, well, people were like coming up to me.
I wonder what they said.
Yeah, no, well, people were coming up to me asking me like what was said, and I was like, oh, you listen to it. I was like, yeah, a lot of people listen to our stuff, dude. So anyways, to this day, it should not have been bleeped. Serge wanted it to be bleeped, so I was like, fine, let's bleep it.
Because it was, we just started out, I'm like, I don't want to be like,
it wasn't
now
even a
I'm like
swear
over
word.
here talking about the grossest, creepiest things ever. Now everyone knows the real, like, my real sense of humor is dark and nasty.
So here's the context of the word. I said I usually don't grow out my facial hair because it's super thin, and I said it's like butt hair. And so butt hair was bleeped out.
Oh.
The word butt hair.
Gross. I was like, come on, man, let's just bleep it out. Like, it's just like, my mom's listening.
Hey, that's true. Because our parents, by this point, our parents are like tired. My parents do, like religiously.
I told her it's a radio show. She's like, oh, very good, sir. Good job.
My parents are like every second of it, and they're always like, when's the next one coming out? I'm like, Dad. Like,
no, serious?
Dead serious.
Oh, cool. My parents don't care.
Dead serious.
I'm like, when? Oh, cool radio. Are you coming to cut grass tomorrow? Yeah, I'm coming over. Thanks for caring about my grass, your grass.
That's the funniest thing I've ever
her own
heard.
stuff. She's busy. You know, I get it.
That's hilarious.
doing
Are
her
you coming to
podcast?
cut the grass?
No, I love my mom, but she just they're not hip with podcasts.
You guys have to teach me how to speak with a Russian accent.
Oh, I'll teach
He's
you.
the best at it.
What do you? Because like sometimes you throw in an S at the end.
S's when you're not supposed to.
You have to do plurals when
here's
it's
the thing.
singulars.
There's like legit Russian accent. Mine's like this hybrid. It's like this.
I didn't even know. I thought you just had a Russian accent like that you could throw on.
Real
And then I
Russian
heard
accent
you,
is like this.
more
the other
like
day,
just ours.
you speak.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could do this whole podcast in Russian if we wanted to.
You
It
speak
sounds
Russian too?
horrible.
Yeah.
'Cause we're
Okay.
both.
I was born. Were you born in Ukraine or Russia?
I was born in Ukraine.
We were both born in Ukraine.
I was born in Kiev.
Yeah, and we were pretty much raised for the first 15 years of our lives in Ukraine, technically, because when you migrate here, you don't hang out with American
you're
people.
You're a minority within minorities.
Yeah, exactly.
Minorities don't like it because you're white, and whites don't like it because you're minority.
Exactly.
So you're kind of like SOL.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just added S's.
I mean, you just like make fun of it, you know. Just you make the words sound funny.
We do podcasts with
funny.
music.
Like I say, I funny.
Yeah.
Like we funny. We make radio show.
Yeah, that's
That's
perfect. That's perfect.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It's beautifully awkward.
Next question. I want to know the next question.
Question.
Because we don't have fan questions yet, so this is exciting.
By the way, if you're a fan of our show,
email the heck out of us.
Us questions, so we don't just ramble about stupid crap and gross crap.
We only get podcast hosts that email us, and they're asking us all of these. Do you want to listen to my podcast? I'm like, no, I don't want to listen. I'm sorry.
Have you been checking our email?
What?
Yeah. Like 2 or 3 people have emailed us like about their podcast. I'm like,
thanks,
your
man.
podcast sucks. Only ours is cool.
Yeah, I listened to on the 15th of never delete.
we, like no response.
We're not here to be friends. We're here to crush your podcast. But we're in totally different genres. Shut up. Delete.
We're number ones.
Number 1, crush you with iron fist.
That's perfect.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. So what do you guys podcast? Who I like toot somebody else's horn here for a second.
Oh, who do I listen to as far as podcasts?
Yes.
Well, that's one reason why we wanted to start this podcast, because me and him are huge fans of The Fighter and the Kid.
Yep.
The Fighter and the Kid, please listen to our podcast.
Please check us out.
Please
Brian
check us
Callen,
out.
sorry we didn't go to your comedy show when you were in town because we were busy.
Don't say that.
Sorry, Brian.
I like
We're
how you're
such-
actually worried that he
Yes.
heard that. Don't say that, Serge. Come on, you're gonna mess it up.
He for sure does not care about
Yeah,
our podcast.
he definitely doesn't care.
but in the back of your mind.
Fighter and the Kid is a big one. But my all-time favorite is one of the biggest podcasts out there as far as downloads. He's like number 4 or 5 all time. That's Joe
Doll
Rogan.
collectors. Wait.
Dog
I mean, yeah,
collector-
Joe Rogan, because we're manly.
No, but Joe Rogan, the reason I like his podcast is because he talks about everything, and I feel like he's a lot like me, whereas I want to learn a ton about everything. I love music, I love business, but I also want to learn about nutrition. Like I want to talk to a doctor and talk to him about nutrition all day. I want to talk to a triathlete and talk to him about triathlons all day. I want to talk to a business owner, talk to him about business all day. And Joe Rogan, he's like that. He'll have like Neil deGrasse Tyson on, who's an astrophysicist. Next time he'll have Peter
To kick his
Schiff.
butt, I might add.
What was that?
To kick his butt, I might add. When he went on, when Neil deGrasse Tyson went on there,
What do you mean kick his butt?
about the faking of the moon landing. I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I
interesting.
didn't listen to that one.
Well, Joe
But
Rogan,
yeah.
This is narrowcasting.
Joe Rogan was saying
Remember that
that
one podcast? I remember what happened at 45 minutes and 32 seconds of that podcast.
Hey,
Guys,
great.
Hey,
I'm going to be over here talking about real things. They're going to geek out over stupid podcasts. Hey.
you love Joe Rogan,
I do
don't you?
actually like that show.
And then the next time he'll have Peter Schiff, who's an economist, has nothing to do with Neil, and that's why I love
Yeah.
that
Okay,
podcast.
so we
I
got
like the
2.
one.
What else? Do you listen to any podcasts?
I just recently I drove cross country. I bought a car.
You're trying to come up with the name of a podcast?
No.
A
And
real
I
one?
listened to this new one called Hardcore History by Dan
yeah.
Carlin.
Yeah.
Dang, that's a good one. It's like
Oh, that's the one you told me to listen to,
It's
wasn't
like
it?
it's kind of like they're you got to be in the mood, or you have to have the time, because they're like episodes on certain like
In the mood for death and history.
Yeah,
Not
like-
in the mood. You got to be.
yeah.
If you're in the mood and you listen to
If
Dan,
you're having a
Carlin-
romantic evening with your lady, put on Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. So, but that's a good one. Tim Ferriss is a good one. Fire and the Kid. I'm trying to like.
I listened to one called "Talk Nerdy to Me" by Cara Santa Maria. Do you know who that is? She's like a biophysicist, and the way I found out about her is through Joe Rogan. All the podcasts I listen to is because I found out through Joe Rogan.
I'm actually recently started to expand my like library of podcasts. I listen to.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to find time, but Joe Rogan. The thing about Joe Rogan is
Wait,
that
you're doing a podcast. You can't say it's hard to find time to do a podcast.
no, not to do one, to listen to listen to
a lot
them.
of hours. Some of these are long, you know.
Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan's
I was
podcast.
one with this Learn Piano Live guy. It went like an hour. It was ridiculous. Who has time for that?
We're not even
Who
at
has
an
time for
hour.
that?
We're like at 40 minutes. But his are over 3 hours long every single time.
Right. Yeah.
You gotta
So-
like. I realized that you can't listen to all of them because I was trying to like
can't.
stay on the
Yeah.
schedule.
Joe Rogan has podcasts 4 times a week sometimes, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all 3 hours.
It's like you can't catch up with them. So like I'll check out people like names that I like. I'll check out what they're about, and then I'll listen to it if I'm interested in it. And I like recently started like dedicating more time to biking, so I'll listen to podcasts.
Right.
I've learned to. This is kind of a thing that you have to kind of. I mean, I guess you train yourself, but like I used to listen to a lot of music when I ride or run. Now I do still listen to music and when I run or ride, or a lot of times I'll split my ride my ride or bike time. Ride or run time. I'll listen to podcasts in the beginning when I'm kind of just warming up and I'm just kind of light riding or whatever, or if I'm doing a recovery ride or something like that, where I'm like I did a big ride the day before, I'm just doing like like an hour ride, like a short one.
Okay.
Or then I'll listen to something like a podcast where I'm like I can actually just relax and think. But when I'm really like hammering down, then I'll listen to music or something like that. So I've been dedicating more time to that, and I'm trying to switch this. I'm trying to actually like restructure my life a little bit.
Wow.
Let's
really, talk about it.
This is getting deep.
So
you didn't bring this up
I
at
just
breakfast.
wanted to tell you, I've been really down. No, so I'm trying to restructure my life a little. I'm getting involved in some other business things, and so I'm like, whoa, where do I find the time? So I'm listening to like different innovators or different like entrepreneurs where I'm like, how do you guys do it? Right. Like, how do you structure your life to where you can do all these things and still get fit and like, and so I'm like trying to restructure like my ride time in the morning, and if I have time to do runs in the evening, so like I'll dedicate more time to writing now, so I have more time to listen. So I'm like, okay, how do I add new podcasts to my library? Right. I listen, like I've trained myself to be able to focus on that.
Right. Yeah, cool. You'll want to check out the Startup podcast too. That's
Startup?
Startup, yeah. It's a podcast about startups.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
All right, so what is your guys' favorite gig ever?
Oh, that's a good one. Favorite gig ever. Wow, that's a really good one.
From
I have one.
Yes. You
have one?
No, go ahead. Let me think of mine.
What do you mean,
there was that one charity auction you did that you were telling me about, remember?
Yeah, that gig sucked.
That's what Mike said.
I passed that on after the first gig.
Thanks
for the gig, Mike. I gave it away already.
Just like you.
Favorite gig? Like, is it like thing I've played or like just one gig? Yeah.
I don't know.
Favorite performance?
Frendz fan 32. It was asking from Topeka, Kansas.
Frendz fan 32.
Jedediah, you know him too.
Thank you, Frendz fan 32. You're getting a free T-shirt from the Trump
okay.
Lab.
Favorite
crap. I want
favorite gig ever. Favorite gig.
Okay.
Okay, it was I played a gig in Palm Springs, and it was a sold out. It's probably like a venue of like, I don't know, not a venue. It was a church. I was playing with Lincoln Brewster, and it was like my.
Who's that?
Huh?
Who's that?
He's an artist.
Oh,
you don't.
I
just don't like name dropping like that.
Yeah.
I was playing with Lincoln Brewster on tour, and
he was said a little louder. He was like, I was playing with Lincoln Brewster, and we were at this gig, and
I was playing with the great Lincoln Brewster. No, I mean so I was playing with him, and we played the show in Palm Springs. It was a sold out show. Like a lot of people were there to like before the show, so it was like it was the first gig like where it was like, whoa, this is actually like a big show, and like line out the door, like line to get in before it was doors are open, and I probably played my best set with him that night. It was like one of those nights where you're like everything's on, everything's firing on all cylinders, and I had so much fun. Like I nailed everything, and it was like I played things that I you know how you play like licks or you know chops or whatever that you just nail that you planned to nail them, but the night before you just crashed them and burned them, and that night you nailed them. That gig was probably my favorite. Like the way that where the drums were, they were kind of like off the side but close to the audience, and the audience was really into it and played a really good kit. It was like everything on the list down the list. It was like 5 stars. So that has to be my favorite gig. Cool. Second would be like probably
what about your third?
Probably like a gig with
that's the next question. What's your 6th favorite gig ever?
So we're going on hour number 11. My 12th favorite gig.
If I had to say my 13th favorite, if you asked me about my 14th
my second favorite gig would be probably a gig with my buddy Pete. Like a couple different versions, a couple different gigs would qualify for second, because I just have so much fun playing with that guy. It's really like I'm at home playing with him. Like I'm relaxed. I'm never feel like I'm never feeling like, when you feel judged, like about what you're playing, but from your band, or you're feeling like uncomfortable or something. I never feel that way around him. Even when I'm like having an off night, I still have fun with him, and or with the other players that play with us. And yeah, it just feels great. So that's probably number two.
Well, my favorite gig you're probably gonna relate to, because my favorite gig is actually from like 7 years ago, and it was one of my first gigs, and it was with Damani. And Reggie actually came to that gig, and I met Damani through Reggie. And before that, I was pretty strictly classically trained, but I was trying to learn chords. So I was like, I want to learn this chord. I want to learn this chord. You know, I wanted to learn how gospel players play. I wanted to sound like a black guy. And on
the piano.
On the piano, okay. Yeah.
I can teach you the other one.
Yeah. What was that? No, but I really wanted to sound like one, and started taking lessons with Reggie and started kind of picking up things here and there. And one time I hadn't met Damani yet, and Damani comes into a Sac City Jazz improv class, and as he walks in, I'm taking a solo on one of the jazz tunes that we're playing.
Right.
And before that, he kind of met me, but it was one of those things, you know, he didn't know how I played. He thought I was just like a beginner or something.
Right.
And in a sense I was, because I never like learned how to play like stuff by ear. And so he comes in and he hears me solo, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, that's church, and comes up to me. And then the next day comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, you want to play a gig with us?" I'm like, oh, yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it was. I'm like, yeah, sure. But what I didn't realize, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, because with gospel players, they give you a CD and you have to learn off CD. There's no chord charts. You learn everything by ear, and their stuff is hard. Their stuff is not easy.
Yeah.
And so coming up to the gig, he gave me the CD, and I struggled so much because I never really learned how to play by ear like that. So I was calling him a lot. It was like ridiculously stressful. But that gig, it like turned like my musical life to a point where like I learned how to like play by ear.
Yeah.
I became a much better musician just from that one gig.
Yeah.
And because it stressed me out so much, and I had to learn everything by ear, so it was like a turning point in like my musical life. So that's like I'll never forget that gig. Damani, if you're listening, shout out. You know which gig I'm talking about.
Changed my life forever.
Changed my life forever. Yeah.
Damani, can you change my life next? I'll be playing at
Duplex.
the First Covenant.
First Covenant.
Hey, what about you? What's your favorite gig?
Well, that is why I asked the question. I was actually fishing for that one. Thanks for asking. How do I become so handsome? I think that was the question.
Actually, no. Okay.
Whatever it is, it's just magic.
I'm gonna be as handsome as I'm gonna be.
So, yeah, no. I don't know. It sounds like a cheesy answer, but honestly, whatever the next one is.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh,
I think
that's
so.
Cool. That's cool.
No, it's cheesy. It's stupid.
I was trying to make you feel bad. Hey, that's really good, man. Ugh.
But
podcast has been great, everyone.
No, I try to always work to not be better than any gig, I guess. So I like whatever's coming up.
You don't have a top. No, you don't have one.
I mean, sure. There like when I was touring with the Gospel Music Workshop, there was like this. We did this concert. There was like 6,000 or 7,000 people, and for me that was a big deal. Like that was like. There's 6,000 people listening to my notes. I better not screw these up.
Amount of people changes things too. Like when you're playing a lot of people, are like, whoa, there's a lot of people here to hear me play.
Yeah.
Especially but as a musician, it's like it's a big deal.
Right. Well, there's that, and then there's like what you're talking about, where there's like the people who are there. You know.
You want to impress them. I wanted to impress them.
Yeah.
It was a big
13 people here, but one of them is
Yeah.
So, So pretty much anytime I'm playing with great people that I know that like they're around, and that's high pressure, but that's not as much fun.
I think that's
memorable, but I almost died kind of way.
I played at NAMM with Lincoln also, and that was like Mike Johnston never seen me play drums for years and years and years. He was there, and a bunch of people that I look up to were there because NAMM is like all like pros. Yeah. It was like a adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And then we went after Israel. Was like, and it was my first gig.
I would have left. I would have left.
It was my first gig with Lincoln. Left. It was like all kinds of adrenaline rush. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, that's and I think that's one of the things like you're talking about with the podcast and stuff, like who's listening, like all the covers that I do now, ever since I started learning piano live, it's like I know that like everyone's gonna hear this, like, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking about like all the great people, like, oh crap, I hope they don't hear this. No, I need another take, and I'll do like 50, 60, 70 takes on a song to get it to the point of the like, and finally I just have to
Yeah, just gotta
Quit,
go with
quit.
it.
All right, no, screw it, forget it. And so
I try not to. When I do that, when I think about who's listening, I end up playing crappy.
oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
end up overplaying or
Right.
trying things that I shouldn't be trying because
Right.
they don't sound right there. I try to, like, especially lately when, like, I played this gig with Duplex, and I was like, it was like kind of a lame gig, but our buddy Blake was shut up.
I remember that
Our
one.
buddy Blake was there, and there was not a lot of people there, but I was like, a lot of people that I invited, and I was kind of like, not showing off, but it was kind of like, I wanted to put on a good show.
Yeah, right.
And I wasn't playing the music; I was putting on the show.
Yep.
And he was like, dude. He came up to me. He was really honest. I'm really glad he said this to me. He's like, dude, when you guys are playing the music, when you're in it, you guys kill it.
Right.
When you're just playing you just play you. You could tell. And
Yeah.
it was like from a musician that I really respect.
Right.
And he's like, no BS guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, you're right, because I was off that night. I remember playing. Everything was just kind of, it was just like off.
Yeah.
But when I play, when I just like don't care.
Right.
I'm not here to impress you. I'm just here to play the music. I'm just
Yep.
here to make this feel good. That's it. Then is when I kill it.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, and honestly, it's the same thing that, like, I got, some little 8-year-old in their, like, first recital, and then it's like you can see the same exact emotions in their eyes. It's like, no, like, just play the song, like, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, but no, but it's a big deal to me. It's like I
like
feel like that
Twinkle,
little
Twinkle, Little
8-year-old when I'm
Star,
playing. Yeah. But it's like it's hard to remember. Like, oh yeah, just do your thing.
Yeah.
I think the same thing in business too. Like, you got that whole, like, well, but what if I fail? But who's gonna know about that? And then if I try really hard and then I fail, then it means I suck or whatever. And it's like, no, you just gotta. It doesn't matter. People
Dude,
fail
life
all the
lessons
time.
from livepiano.com. Where was it?
PlayPianoLive.com.
LearnPianoLive.com. We're
Play
such
piano.
good podcast hosts.
Piano.com over here.
Yeah, please visit pianoforthelive.com
Okay,
with
one more
kids.
time. What is it? So people know.
It's LearnPianoLive.com.
If you're not in Sacramento and you can't take lessons from this man, you got to go to LearnPianoLive.com. And then the kids one is what?
It's hard to remember. Kids, LearnPianoLive.com.
Man, what a jerk. Anyways, everyone, this has been an awesome time hanging out with my buddy here. Oleg, your new buddy. This podcast has been brought to you by BuzzHive.net.
Gotta give him the shout out.
Gotta. All your marketing and web needs.
You gotta change
up.
it.
BuzzHive is awesome.
This guy's pretty awesome at web stuff.
Is he really?
already. So I don't know if he needs BuzzHive. But everyone else.
BuzzHive is
hit
like,
him
how
up.
dare you?
Sorry, Jason.
We will drop you.
Anyways,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for coming on,
Thank
dude.
you.
It was
Awesome podcast. I loved it.
Dying to reach out to the Kansas market forever now.
Dude,
Kansas.
I love you for that.
Dude,
That's
if you
so
get
awesome.
people from Kansas tomorrow, I want a royalty from that. Kansas, we hope you're still listening.
Dude, they are.
Because we're back.
Dude, we're back. We are back, and we love Kansas.
And thank you for listening. We will be back next week with another one.
Yes, sir.
And we'll try
a
to
week after that.
Be consistent. Back to being consistent. We're just busy.
For
busy
sure.
with life.
Yeah, we're just
life
busy.
happen.
We're actually
Bison.
planning the podcast.
Chupacabras.
That's why. Chupacabras.
Also, sorry for this podcast has been brought to you by Serge Fails that's pressing the record button. Sorry about missing that again.
And butt hair. I'm so glad I can say that now.
Hey, when they bleep that out, email me at jamin@learnpianolive.com. I'll tell you what he said. I'll tell you what he said.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Jamin, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Coller, thanks for being handsome. Peace out.